Thinking about moving out of the Bay Area and you really don't know where you want to go, there's thousands of choices, and that's what this series is all about. We're going to multiple different destinations all across the United States and probably Canada too, and talking to agents who live in specific areas so that you can get to know a little bit about the area, the flavor, the types of food, and that's what we're doing today. I'm Vito Scarnecchia with the Abitano Group here in San Jose, California. Today we have the wonderful and marvelous Brenda Gerke. Right? Did I say that right?
That's right.
Great. Brenda, tell me about yourself.
Well, I have been an agent about 16 years. I work in the Metro Detroit area. You know, we have some bad rap going on over here, but we are really a great group of people, very resilient, been through heck and back, like ground zero at the beginning of that whole downturn, and they have bounced back and are doing very, very well. So it's a great city.
Right.
Work outside of Dearborn. Dearborn is where Ford Motor Company is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I did know that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Have you lived in Dearborn area your whole life?
36 years I've lived here. I moved here right after I got married. I'm actually from northern Michigan, what we call around here up north.
I've only landed in the airport of Detroit once.
Yeah.
I've never experienced Detroit, and I know of Dearborn. Just tell me about living there. What's it like?
We're a very diverse community. We have a lot of immigrants. One of the things we do have is a very large Middle Eastern population. We have the largest Middle Eastern population outside of the Middle East. So we have some of the best Middle Eastern food ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's a lovely city. It's got a little downtown area, Michigan Avenue. You know, they've done a really nice job with the whole city. It had tons of beautiful homes that Henry Ford built for his workers. They're kind of all same size and exactly alike, lined up all over the city.
So a couple things about what you just said. You know, in California, I live in South San Jose, California, and everybody talks about how diverse California is. And they couldn't imagine leaving California because they love the different cultures. You know, we have people from every corner of the world living here. Part of their comments are like, I couldn't imagine leaving California because it's so monochromatic. And I get it. But at the end of the day, people are moving from all over the globe to the United States and not just California. And my contention to that is always, it doesn't matter where you go, you're always going to have diversity. Now that we know where you're from, where you live, give me 2 words. I love this question, but it's always hard for me to frame it. Give me 2 words that you could describe where you live without saying where you live.
That is so easy. Motor City.
Motor City. That's true, right? It seems like medical is a big industry pretty much in every city that I've interviewed so far.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's pretty typical because it takes a lot of doctors to keep everybody healthy and a lot of infrastructure to make that happen. So being in Motor City, tell me, just out of curiosity, I know this wasn't on the question on the list, are most of the cars there Fords?
In Dearborn.
Is it really?
Yeah, a lot of them are, yeah.
Tell me, you've been there for 36 years. What's special about Dearborn in your heart?
I really like the people. I like the diversity. I like the faster pace. When I was up north, everything's very slow. Yeah. And it's a faster pace. Took a while to get used to when I first got here. I like having places we have a lot of metro parks and state parks in Michigan. A lot of our stuff that we do, whether it's winter or summer, is done outside. You know, so we have hiking and biking and boating and swimming and, you know, so there's a ton of that kind of thing that you can do. I really do appreciate the 4 seasons, some of the other things about it that make it special.
Where you live, you get some pretty serious snow, right?
We are called the Mitten State. We're shaped like a piece of winter apparel. What do you expect?
Yeah, exactly. There's that mindset. You know, I remember I went up when I was a teenager back to Winnipeg to go visit my aunt and uncle. And I asked them if I could shovel snow. Thinking back on it, it was kind of stupid, but it was like, oh, you know what? I don't get to do that in California because, you know, once every 7 years we might have a snow, right? And it's just like a very, very thin layer. And that's the big difference, right? You go up north, you're going to get the snow, but here, everybody says it's all about the weather coming here, and they're willing to spend millions of dollars on homes and living here, and you have great weather. And a lot of the time, like the last week has been amazing, right? It's been 72, 75 degrees, but we do have hot summers. We have this year we probably had 20, 25 days of over 100-degree weather, and I'm sure you've heard about it in the news. We have the wildfires. Yeah, we have great weather here, but you also have great weather in Michigan too, and I'm sure you get hot, muggy days too, right?
We do. It was actually 70 here yesterday.
So tell me your backstory. You kind of alluded to your backstory when we were first talking, but tell me how you got into real estate.
Well, I worked in senior housing for about 20 years.
Okay.
I worked in several senior communities in the area, and one of the first things they always say is, well, I'd love to live here, but I got to sell my house first. So I would refer them out to people that I knew that had come in and talked to me, or people that I knew that were in the business. And then at some point, the state of Michigan decided that in order to lease property in the state of Michigan, you had to have a real estate license. So I got my license to lease apartments to seniors.
Right.
And then I went to work for a company that was doing both leasing, and then they had two buildings. And so one was in the back and one was in the front. One was all going to be condos, so you could pick out what you wanted. And one was going to be just leasing. So I did that. I leased, I think the first year I was there, I leased about 45 apartments, but I sold about 12 of these condos that then I would have the builder renovate to their specifications, and that was all part of my job, and get it closed and the whole bit. So that kind of sparked I really like this real estate thing. So that's when I went into real estate.
So I heard that you could buy property in like houses in Detroit for like $5,000. Was that correct?
Yes. Now, if you wanted to get out into the suburbs, it was a little bit more expensive, not a lot.
Right.
My husband is a contractor, and he worked with, it was he and another guy, and they would buy these houses and they would fix them up. And they were in a small town just about 5 minutes from here, and they were paying about $35,000 a piece for them.
Wow.
And they would buy them at the time and work on renovating them. And if they spent too much money, then they would rent them for a while, and then they would turn around and sell them. And at the time, they were probably getting $60,000 or $70,000 for them. So they were making some good money on them, considering what they spent. And this is what he did for, he probably bought 50 houses during that time.
So talk about skiing. Are you talking about cross-country skiing, or is there hills there?
No, downhill too. Up north, especially, there's a lot of really nice, lodges and places, and they have their own, equipment, so they can start early. They make snow for the first month. So by November, they're skiing up there.
The last 7, 8, 9 years, we've been in drought conditions here in California. And our ski industry pretty much tanked. Professional teams, I bet there's a couple teams that you like to,
Yeah, my husband, we always say that, life begins again in hockey season. We're Red Wings fans. So one of the original six, and he was a huge Gordie Howe fan all his life. And so, Gordie just passed away last year, I think it was. But anyway, so we have the Red Wings, we have the Tigers, we have the Pistons, and we have the perpetually losing Lions. So
that's like my Sharks. They're always losing. So I know in the beginning we were talking about, you were describing the area where you live, and you were talking about the Main Street USA. When I went to Savannah, I actually went to Karen's workshop in Savannah.
Yeah, I wanted to be there. I couldn't.
Yeah, and part of what my wife is looking for when we do move is the downtown Main Street USA, that whole look and feel. And you mentioned that there was kind of like a Main Street USA. Yeah. Describe that to me.
It's they're very particular about their downtown area. So they recently implemented, Ford actually bought a whole block down there, and they took down some of the buildings that were old, and some of them they left, and they call this this one block strip, Wagner Place, and it has the turret, and the tower thing, and it's very cool. And it's got the date the building was made, and so on and so forth. So they kept that one, and the rest of the block kind of went bye-bye. And they're going to go in and put in, when they do go back to work in their actual offices, they're going to put in some kind of offices in the top 2 floors of this. And then down below is all shops. They very particular, they wanted shops and people-based businesses. So they didn't want like cubicles and more, that kind of thing.
That's what we have them here, right? But we have Willow Glen, which is in San Jose, and we have San Pedro Square, which is downtown San Jose, and we have Los Gatos, Santa Cruz Ave, and we have Saratoga on Highway 9. They're all very high-end restaurants. When you go there versus here, I consider this area more blue collar, although we have executives that live here, and we have engineers that live in Blossom Valley, which is part of San Jose. Mm-hmm. You go to Saratoga and Los Gatos and Willow Glen, and you're paying $2 million for a house, right? And here you can still buy a house for under $2 million. I'm not laughing, but I am laughing. It's just, it seems ridiculous every time I say it, because our mindset here is, wow, it's really expensive to live here. Yes, it's very expensive to live here, and the average cost of a house here is like $1.4 million in Santa Clara County. Eventually, a majority of people that are in my age group, they're here, they're going to retire, and then they're going to move out. And I already have people in my age group moving out because they can telecommute. Yeah. People that are moving out of the Bay Area. So a lot of people are saying, hey, I still want to live in California. So they're moving up to Chico or Sacramento or Folsom or Bakersfield or Central Coast. They're just getting out of the rat race. And it's not a bad thing, right? Because this is where you make your money and then you get out. And so going back to the whole thing of why it's so expensive, because you don't care what you pay for it. You know that in 10 years or 20 years, you're going to double your money, and then you walk away from it. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of money. About 20 minutes south from where I live is Morgan Hill. And on the west side of the freeway, which is 101, there's housing going up, but we also have nice older houses, and it rolls up to a hill. Morgan Hill is kind of like in a valley. Then on the east side is more horse property, where you can get an acre all the way up to 5-10 acres and raise your horses or whatever it is you want to have. There's a mindset in San Jose that we need to have green. We need to have greenery so that we can have more parks. San Jose has 220 parks right now. I adopted the second largest park, just happens to be, seven houses away from me. It's 25.5 acres. It has a nice hill that everybody likes to go walk up on. And we do park cleanups and barbecues and movie nights and stuff like that when there's not COVID. San Jose is a great place for kids to grow up. And there's a lot of stuff for kids to do, but you kind of have to keep your eye on them.
Even growing up north, my mom would just, flick the light switch, and that meant, okay, wherever we are on the property, let's go.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow. We just don't do that. We have my twin daughters are 14 years old, and they meet up with their friends that they go to gymnastics with, and they walk the dogs to coffee. They get coffee or chocolate milk or whatever they get, and a couple donuts, and then they walk to a park, and then they do this for a couple hours. But they're together, and that's their reality today. And I wish that they would do that, every day. It's been an amazing hour. I'm so excited to be able to do this with everybody. And I thank you so much for spending an hour with me today and sharing.
If you ever want to come to Michigan, you know who to call. I'll find some wonderful place for you to see or things to do, or take you up north skiing or something.
Or we just go fishing or go hiking.
Go fishing, go hunting, go boating. Oh.
Do me a favor real quick, take 2 seconds and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Also hit the like, the little thumbs up, and the little bell so you'll be notified of upcoming videos.